Thank you for turning to page 121. Today on page 121, we're going to take a look at some old school supplements TSR released to help with your AD&D gaming. The first one is the Dungeon Master's Adventure Log, and the next we're going to take a look at is the Monster and Treasure Assortment. So here we go. Starting with the Dungeon Master's Adventure Log. This was released in about 1983. I bought it when it was new, with the idea being that you would have all you would need within these pages to log and track your entire campaign. So the idea was you would just jot everything down in the pages herein, and you would have access to all the information all the time. It's actually a helpful little book in that it has some stuff that would be just as well at home in the Dungeon Master Guide. It has the combat modifiers tables, which show all the modifiers to hit and damage based on what's going on. If the opponent is stunned, if there's a bless going on or a chant. Damage modifiers, again, for bless and chant, a hate, weapon set against charge, that sort of thing. All the way down to typical inhabitants in a village. So you could just take a look here and go, okay, I've got some laboring males, laboring females, that sort of thing. So it would help you set up the background for your campaign. Some more here would help you translate the experience point values for your monsters. And gold costs, very important to most player characters. How much it costs to have spells cast by an NPC cleric. Very, very important in old D&D. Because it was many, many times you had to go to find a cleric to get rid of that curse or resurrect somebody or something along those lines. Okay. Sorry, just a little adjustment there. So then we go to the meat of the book, which are these charts. Basically, you fill out the chart with the information you would need to run your campaign. So this would be a log of the player characters that are in your campaign as well as the NPCs. This one was for when I ran Steading of the Hill Giant Chief on January 22nd, 1992. As you can see by my entry, Jeff was playing a fighter MU with a girdle of frost giant strength, no less. Some pretty good weaponry. Mike was playing Pockets, an 8th level thief. I loved Pockets, he was a lot of fun. Craig was playing Sir Karados, who was a paladin, 6th level, with a +3 demon sword. They had an NPC named Granite, who had a +3 dwarven thrower. I did and still do like to give out magic weapons. It's one of the things I really enjoy about the game. And I really don't mind if my players hit hard because, frankly, I can just add more hit points to the monsters. It's a lot of fun for me to give these items out, and it's a lot of fun for the player characters to have them. The last player character that was in this game was John, who played Greenleaf in 9th level Ranger. I'm sad to say I don't remember John. I think John was a friend of one of my players, Mike, and I just don't remember the gentleman. I'm sure he was a good guy, and we had a lot of fun. And I have 2 more NPCs listed. So as you can see, this was a 7-strong party that was going in. The last one is Crossbrook with Cleric 7th level, who was lawful evil and had a Rod of Curing and Necklace of Prayer Beads. So he would have been kind of a fun surprise I was going to spring on the player characters. So the rest of this book is more of the empty charts. The idea being that as your campaign rolled along, you would fill in all these pages. And that would help you to track everything that was going on in your campaign. The problem became your campaign was really too big for these couple of pages. But one of the benefits of this supplement was this chart of various types of armor. Now, the Art Institute of Chicago, downtown, I live in the Chicago area, have my whole life, they have a room of arms and armor. It's a really, really fun section of the museum. If you're not into painting, which I kind of am, so I'm okay with it either way, it's still a great place to go into the Hall of Armory and just see the different kinds of actual armor that people actually wore. They have actual, real armor there. And then this supplement gave us a good look. Remember, this was the early 80s, pre-internet. The only other time I'd seen this kind of stuff was in comic books, movies, of course, or in encyclopedias. I did go to the library back in the day and look up some stuff. I had no idea what a bardiche was, or bec de coban, glaive guisarme. I didn't know any of those. I knew they were pole weapons. That's about all I knew. I did not know Lucerne hammer was really just a military pick. So it would end up drawing blood, which was against the rules for first edition D&D clerics. So the rest of the book has more charts for you to track your player characters and their activities. In the back, some information on becoming lost in the wilderness, traveling by boat, movement of foot per day, whether on the road or mounted, and then a sample at the end here, the sample adventure log plan. The idea again being that you would just fill this out every time you run. This had its utility. I liked it at first. I was very excited about it. Obviously, I used it up into the early 90s, but it didn't quite do everything I needed it to do. So it's still a fun one. You can find it on eBay. I did not see it on DriveThruRPG. I'm not sure if you can get this as a download or not. So I'm going to go to the second one now, which is going to be the Dungeons & Dragons Monster and Treasure Assortment. Okay, Dungeons & Dragons Monster and Treasure Assortment. This was out in 1980, and I believe I bought it back in 1980. I got a lot of use out of this particular book. This book takes you levels 1 through 9, and it helps you populate your dungeon. So as a new DM, I was ready for whatever help I could get. In 1980, this was all brand new to me. Role-playing was brand new to me. And I really didn't know what I was doing, like almost every DM who's ever started this. So it was helpful to have a book like this where I could just open the book and it would show me, oh, here's some ideas. The treasure is contained in bags, sacks, small coffers. I would actually just roll this. Treasures guarded by, and it would have different traps or tricks that were guarding it, and then it's hidden by a loose flagstone on the floor, that kind of thing. You come over to the pages themselves, and they're all just numbered entries of monsters and encounters, with the idea being that you would roll a percentage dice and say, oh, okay, I rolled a 56, I have 12 kobolds, and here's their hit points. It saved a lot on rolling up individual encounters, and it also helps spark your imagination. If you just used kobolds in the last one, you didn't want kobolds, you just threw it again. Oh, I got skeletons this time. Oh, I've run skeletons in a few games. Great. So this went first level all the way up through 9th. Level 8, and of course, as everything progressed, things got harder and harder. Now, I have to admit, back in the day when I first started using this book, I rarely went to levels 8 and 9. Who would ever run a D&D campaign that would end up getting that high level? Well, of course, it turns out that the answer is pretty much everybody. AD&D First Edition was written to really go to about 12th level player characters. The rules start to kind of break down once you hit around 12th level, and you have to do a lot of changes to the core rules to keep the game fresh and exciting. I don't say this by way of complaint, I just say it by way of observation. The campaigns really topped out around 12, and I had to do a lot of changing as my players got further and further down the experience tracks. I had to do a lot of things to keep the game interesting and fresh. So it was a challenging thing, but it's still fun, and it's something I'm still engaging in. So now, once you're done with the monsters, there's the treasures. Again, I use these extensively. I completed entire games just off of these treasure tables. And sometimes if it was a level 1 game, but it was a really, really tough game, I'd go ahead and I'd use the treasure table from level 3. If it was an easy game, a level 5 game, I'd use level 2. That kind of thing. So coming over to here, we're all the way up to level 9. Ooh, I used to look at this as exotic stuff I'd probably never give out. And it's funny when you're new to something that you think something will never reach a certain level, and then you look back a million years and you go, wow, okay, yeah, we've been here many, many times. But I did like this supplement. You could take a percentage dice, throw it. If I throw 55, your chest holds 8,700 silver pieces. 54 would be a Ring of X-Ray Vision. 78 would be a sword +1, no special abilities, plate mail, armor and shield +1, and a scroll of protection from undead. That's a pretty good payday, even at 9th level. So again, this had a lot of use. I actually used this one a ton. It's got that phenomenal early D&D artwork on the back. This one, again, I did not see on Drive-Thru RPG. I know it's available through eBay, but they're pretty rare. These two together were money well spent on my part. I got a lot of use out of both these back in the day. And just for nostalgia, they've been a bunch of fun to go back to and look at now and again. Again, I don't really need these books anymore because I've gone beyond them, but still, they're a lot of fun. So if you have an opportunity to get these, I would recommend them. It's just nice to add to your library, and for me, they're a great little trip down memory lane. Well, that's it for page 121. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Well, that closes the book on another episode of page 121. Please leave your comments below, and if you enjoyed what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.